This store started out as a general store. My grandfather bought it. I think he bought it when it was new, when it was built, and or he had it built. In reference to like the rafters, the way that they're put together, it kind of looks like it was probably his doing. It was before like big supermarkets. This was the place you could go to get shoes, clothes. He sold saddles. He sold boots. A lot of cowboy stuff, you know, riding stuff. He was into horseback riding. Cutworm was my grandfather's nickname. And I remember the first time I heard someone refer to him as Cutworm. It was a guy fishing, and we were driving by, and he stopped and turned the truck off and spoke to him. The guy said, "Hey, Cutworm," and after we talked to him for a sec, we kept moving, and I said, "Why did that guy call him Cutworm?" And he said, "Everybody calls me Cutworm." I'd never heard it. At that point, I'd never heard it. They definitely broke the mold after that guy. And now I'm working out of this shop. So if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have a shop. So that's the reason that the business was called Cutworm. Cutworm Specialties is the business.
From the beginning, I think that opening my own shop and having my own place to work, it was a desire not to work for somebody else anymore. I took in whatever I could to make a buck so that I could pay my bills. Anything from like working on four-wheelers or dirt bikes, people would bring lawnmower decks that were broken for me to fix, and then as I was doing all these small jobs, I started to gain a reputation in the area as a guy who could fix what nobody else could. So it was the weird thing that somebody has that you can't get parts for anymore or something like that. I was the guy that could fix that. Those little jobs sort of paved the way and also gained experience from those jobs. All of the stuff that I think that I've done my entire life, whether it be skateboarding or riding dirt bikes, or even the artwork that I did in high school, all sort of paved the way. I didn't have any formal training. I didn't do very good at school. I learned how to do what I do under this roof. Whenever I bought my lathe or my mill, I didn't even know how to use them. And I was willing to take that risk, buy the equipment, and know that I was willing to stand in front of that thing for hours and figure out what it likes and what it doesn't like. And if you do that, if you're willing to do that, it will happen. My work is a little different. I wouldn't consider myself in any shape or form to be a traditional car builder. I'm not trying to build you your 32 Highboy. That's just not my thing. I'm not trying to build what that guy has. I don't scour around the internet trying to find these quirky little cool ideas from other people. I just don't do that. If I see it somewhere else, I go, well, that's been done, so I'll go to another direction. But I don't really have like this distinct plan. I don't have this manila envelope with a bunch of notes and, drawn out renderings of what I'm trying to build. I have a general idea. I have another friend who's in the metal shaping world, and he said that my work is more like artwork, and so he called my cars art rods, which he's kind of coined that phrase for what I do, but I'm not trying to be traditional. In the beginning, I was building cars for me, where I was maybe doing work on a car for a friend or something like that because I didn't have any business. Sooner or later, you build something that a lot of people are noticing. And there was a large period of time there where I wasn't doing any work for myself. I was only doing customer cars. And it's really easy to fall into a position where it isn't fun anymore because you're not doing anything for yourself, and you can't do that. I think anybody who does something creative or something that they love to do for their work has to do something for themselves. Otherwise, you lose sight of what you're doing it for in the first place. So the Jawbreaker is that kind of, my wagon is that kind of a build. It was something that I did for myself, and it was making me feel good about what I've accomplished. A long time ago, I did a lot of work, and I can look back on that and not understand how I did it with so little. But I still did it. The product wasn't as nice as what I produced then. I mean, sometimes, you know, in my line of work, you have to make your own stuff. There's just no other way to do it. You have to make your own tools. But certain tools, if they're nice, it helps tremendously because you're producing a nicer part. And it's not as aggravating if you can make the piece exactly the way it needs to be instead of, like, you know, the tool sort of making it sort of half-ass, and then you have to sort of make it work. Having the right tools does make the difference, but is it all you need to do some of the projects that I do? No. There's a lot inside of yourself that you have to have.
I'm Jeb Greenstone. I'm a welder, machinist, engineer, metal shaper, and fabricator. I am Cutworm Specialties.